We often think the best ideas come from moments of brilliance, from a sudden flash of genius. But in truth, great ideas rarely arrive fully formed. They are born in silence, in curiosity, and in the courage to look beyond the obvious. The challenge isn't whether we're capable of good ideas, it's whether we're giving ourselves the space to find them. In a world constantly rushing forward, creativity isn't sparked by noise or pressure, it's sparked by reflection, by the ability to pause, to listen, and to reconnect with what matters. That's where your best thinking happens. Not when you're trying to impress, but when you're trying to understand. The best ideas aren't meant to just solve problems, they're meant to solve meaningful ones. And to get there, we need to ask better questions. We need to stop chasing originality and start reconnecting with purpose. Because the moment we care more about impact than credit, more about service than status, that's when the most powerful ideas rise to the surface. Not because they're loud, but because they're true. Your best ideas are already inside you. They just need a reason, a rhythm, and the right conditions that celebrates hustle. Constant motion is often mistaken for progress, and busyness is worn like a badge of honor. But creativity doesn't respond to pressure the same way productivity does. The most meaningful ideas don't arrive when we're rushing between tasks or reacting to notifications. They arrive when we slow down long enough to hear ourselves think. Stillness isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. It creates the mental and emotional space where ideas can take shape. Not just surface-level ideas, but the ones that challenge, inspire, and resonate deeply. When we allow ourselves to be still, we begin to reconnect with the thoughts that get drowned out by noise. Silence sharpens our focus. It allows our intuition to rise, our memories to resurface, and our imagination to stretch out beyond the obvious. Some of the greatest breakthroughs, whether in art, science, or leadership, didn't happen in brainstorming sessions or meetings. They happened during walks, in solitude, in nature, or in quiet reflection. The mind needs room to wander without the pressure to perform. It's often in those moments of stillness that new connections are made, insights surface, and clarity arrives. Ironically, the very thing we avoid, slowing down, is often the exact condition our minds need to generate our most impactful ideas. In stillness, we step back from the urgency of doing and return to the simplicity of being. And in that space, our minds become fertile ground, not for more noise, but for better thoughts. When we slow the pace, we start to notice what actually matters. We give ourselves permission to listen, not just to the world around us, but to the voice within us. And that voice is where the best ideas begin. When we chase ideas for the sake of recognition, applause, or validation, we often find ourselves creating things that might look impressive on the surface, but lack depth. Ego-driven ideas are usually designed to stand out, rather than stand for something. They may capture attention, but they rarely hold it. On the other hand, ideas that are born from purpose have a different kind of weight. They connect. They serve, they solve something that matters not just to us, but to others. Purpose gives an idea direction. It becomes more than just creative, it becomes meaningful. People can feel when an idea is rooted in sincerity. Whether you're pitching a new product, starting a movement, or trying to change a system, the intent behind the idea speaks louder than the presentation. When your motive is to help, improve, or inspire, that authenticity carries through. And that's when people begin to trust what you say, not because it's clever, but because it's clear that you care. Purpose creates alignment. It links what you think with what others feel. It bridges the gap between your internal drive and external impact. Purpose also keeps your ideas grounded when the process gets hard. When ego is driving, setbacks feel like personal attacks. But when purpose is driving, setbacks become part of the journey. You're more willing to adapt, refine, and stay committed, not because you want to be right, but because you want to be useful. When you create from a place of service, you're not just looking to impress, you're looking to make something that endures. That's where your best work comes from, not from the desire to be seen, but from the desire to make a difference. We often believe that coming up with great ideas is about having the right answers. But in reality, It's about asking the right questions. Questions are the compass that guide our thinking. When we ask shallow, surface-level questions, we get predictable surface-level answers. But when we ask deeper, more meaningful questions, we unlock insights that were hidden beneath the noise. The quality of our ideas will always reflect the quality of the questions we're willing to ask. Great thinkers, innovators, and leaders don't just seek answers. They challenge assumptions. They ask why when others accept what. And they ask what if when others settle for what is. Curiosity is what fuels innovation. It opens the door to discovery. But curiosity isn't just about collecting information. It's about being brave enough to explore beyond the familiar. It means questioning the status quo, reimagining how things work, and wondering what could be possible if we looked at things differently. The best ideas are rarely born from certainty. They come from an honest willingness to say, I don't know, but I'd like to understand. When we let go of the need to appear like we have all the answers, we begin to create space for genuine breakthroughs to emerge. Better questions lead us to fresh perspectives. They invite others into the process. They spark conversations instead of conclusions, and most importantly, they lead us inward to reflect on our values, intentions, and impact. When we ask meaningful questions, we don't just move toward better solutions, we move toward ideas that resonate on a human level. They aren't just smarter, they're wiser. And in a world overloaded with information, wisdom is what truly stands out. So if you're searching for your best ideas, stop chasing them in the noise. Slow down, get quiet, ask better questions, and above all, connect with your purpose. The ideas that truly matter won't come from trying to be impressive. They'll come from your desire to serve, to solve, and to say something real. You already have what you need to create something meaningful. Not because you have all the answers, but because you're willing to look deeper. The best ideas are not lightning bolts. They're seeds, and they grow when you give them attention, curiosity, and time. Remember, your best idea might not be the loudest or the most polished. It might be the one that simply tells the truth. So show up with humility. Ask the question no one else is asking, and give your mind the quiet it needs to speak clearly, because once it does, the world will be ready to listen.